Hello, Virgin Extravaganza. How are you?
I'm very, very good. How are you?
I'm great. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. Well, when I say here, I mean virtually here. And I have to admit that this interview, I really wanted it to be live. Because I have seen you many times live. I love your performances. I love your drag. I like what you represent. I met you
Thank you.
in King's College Chapel, and the experience was amazing.
Yes.
That's me.
That was a very special night.
It
That was a
was.
very special night. I forgot.
So I was really looking forward to a live interview, but because of the current situation and the coronavirus, sad things happening all over the
Yes.
world, it
Yeah,
has to be
yeah.
a video one. But again, thank you so much for being here, for accepting the invitation, and we're gonna do it like that. It's exactly the same.
Thank you so much. No, I'm very pleased to be talking to you.
How are you, Virgin Extravaganza?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Like I'm making the best of the situation, like a lot of artists are I mean everyone across the board is just I think trying to make the best of the situation.
Yes.
It's a hard time right now. It's a really hard time. I think it's important to acknowledge that and to see it for what it is. But to be as productive and to be as hopeful um, as possible. I think that's really important right now to be hopeful that you know we'll get back on track
Hopefully
eventually.
soon. We really need that kind of hope, actually. And yes, I
Yes.
think that you're spreading a really positive message, and it's important to have people like you saying these things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Virgin, how has this global pandemic affected you? Since you raised that, I'm gonna ask this question. Affected you personally and career-wise?
Okay. Well, career-wise, um, everything was canceled. All my gigs. All my
Really?
gigs. My Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, for the foreseeable. Because nobody knows what's going on. Like the gigs that I had most immediately were obviously the ones that were first affected. But we don't know what's going to happen during the summer.
Exactly.
So I've still got dates there, but and you can't argue with places. You can't argue with venues to say like, oh, we need to cancel this due to what's going on because it's like that's not the venue's fault. This is no one's fault right now. The most important thing is that all of us stay safe and stay at home and work together so that we can eradicate this and then things can hopefully go back to normal as quickly as possible. Um, so I have left London. I went home to my parents' house in Oregon, which is where I'm at right now, which is
Wow.
definitely not London. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere, really. So the Virgin Mary is in the middle of nowhere drinking champagne and doing live performances on Instagram because what the hell else do we have?
Exactly. And
Thank
you,
God for the internet. Thank
thank God.
God for the internet.
And you never lose your class, darling, not even in quarantine periods.
I decided to wear a fur coat today. It's not real fur, it's fake fur,
It's
but I just
amazing.
wanted
Virgin,
to feel a bit fancy.
you are
Yes.
more than fancy. What can we do to support you? What can we do to support you and all the other queens? I mean, it's hard times for everyone, but I suppose that you are very affected because there are no gigs, clubs are closed, bars are closed. How can people help people like you, other freelancers, and support? How can we support our local queens, our local drag queens, and everybody actually who needs our help right now?
If you are in a financial position to do so, tip the queens, tip the dolls.
Mm-hmm.
We have pretty much I for one have put my PayPal in my bio on Instagram. If
Perfect.
you are in a position, now I don't want this to come off as me saying like everybody give me money because I don't have much money right now. So it's like, I know people are in financially difficult situations. So, but if you are a person who is not in a financially difficult position,
Uh-huh.
and if you're getting sick pay, artists like me, like, we don't get sick pay. When we don't work, we don't get paid. So, if everything gets canceled, it's not even like we receive cancellation fees, because this is an act of God. Ha ha ha. Um, no, no one predicted a pandemic. So
Indeed.
I can't turn around to venues and say, like, oh, you're canceling me, like, with a week's notice. You still have to pay me that, which is what I would normally do. Okay. Because she's very strict about those things. But this isn't anybody's fault, and venues are having a really hard time right now. It's like they're in the exact same position as artists are. Um, you know, there are so many highly valuable queer bars, gay bars, in London right now that are privately owned, supported almost entirely by the queer community, and they've had to shut their doors. And yeah, of course they'll probably get some kind of financial aid from the government, but not enough to be able to stay in business. So I think, unfortunately, we might see quite a few closures. So, if you're in a position to give, then give. Give to venues, give to artists, help us stay afloat, so that, again, when life returns to normal, um we'll still be here. It's a hard
Yes.
time.
It's
Real
hard
hard,
time.
real hard. Yeah.
And I really hope that people show their humane side, especially these days. Especially the ones who can afford most.
Yes. Yeah.
Virgin, how would you describe Virgin Extravaganza? And also, why did you choose this name?
Mm. Okay, so um the character is based solely around the Virgin Mary.
Hmm.
And the kind of story that I had, because so speaking out of character right now, my name is Andrew, and I am from Oregon, and I grew up in the church, and I knew I was queer from the get go, as some of us do, not all of us. I definitely did. I've been this basically since the dawn of time. There's been very, very little change, actually. So, growing up in the church and growing up queer, was definitely an experience, both traumatic and also very positive as well. Um, I'm a big believer that, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, even though I did go through a very hard time in my childhood, identifying as queer and in the church, I now use all of that darkness and that hurt, um, into Virgin Extravaganza, who is the Virgin Mary. Now, why the Virgin Mary? Why the Virgin Mary? Because, anybody who's been to a Catholic sermon, anybody who knows anything about Catholicism, the Virgin Mary is integral to the religion. But she has zero personality. We don't know anything about her. We don't know where she came from. I mean, there's certain books about her life that did not make the final editions of the final drafts of the Bible.
Yes.
By and large, we don't know who she is. So she's kind of a blank canvas. You can do whatever you want with her. And I just wanted to reimagine her as a 14-year-old queer identifying person from LA. Why not? And so that's why she became Virgin Extravaganza. And then the name Extravaganza, it was really just because I liked the way it sounded. I just thought Virgin Extravaganza, it was just really OTT.
It's very catchy.
I kind of go, yeah, I kind of go more by Virgin X now, because I'm I sometimes get a little bit self-conscious that like the House of Extravaganza in New York City, which of course I have like the utmost respect for. I don't want them to think that I'm treading on their toes in any way. So so hence I'm kind of going more towards this Virgin X, because a lot of respect to all those queens, and don't want them to think that I am infringing on their turf. Yeah, and it was just and extravaganza actually came about because a drag queen introduced me as Virgin Extravaganza on stage. I was just
Ah,
going by the Virgin Mary. Yeah, and then and someone just like decided to say like extravaganza, and I was like, oh, that's quite nice. I think
indeed.
I'll keep that. So there she goes.
There she goes. And is religion still important in your life? Because you challenge it through your drug.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Religion is. I mean, it's the fundamental basis of my work. Not necessarily religion itself. I don't consider myself to be like a theologian or anything like that. But uh, religion made a big impact on me in my childhood, and I could either choose to carry that with me as trauma and hurt and negativity and darkness, or I could transform it into something beautiful, hopefully, and definitely something that made me laugh.
Yes,
Because laughter is really important. Like, it's really important to think, it's really important to take life seriously and to analyze things and to really look at yourself and everything like that. But I think a lot of times laughter can make that process a lot easier than if you go into something thinking like I'm gonna take this seriously.
indeed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and makes
Yeah.
sense. What I love most about you is that your drag is really unique. It's really special. It's really different. It has a signature. Do you have any references, or do you have any role models or inspirations, or I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, obviously the Virgin Mary. So anything, any kind of like religious iconography, that's obviously still here. My influence has kind of changed though a lot. Like for instance, like right now, like this look, um, whether people like it or not, was very inspired by Grey Gardens and Little Edie. Because I've been thinking a lot about Grey Gardens. I've been thinking a lot about Little Edie and this mother and daughter sort of like stuck in this property for so many years. It felt and quarantined. And I've just
Yes.
been thinking a lot about them, like as I've been literally in a room for 9 days now. So I've just been thinking about it. So I was like, oh, I want to wear this like this fake fur coat that my mom has, and this is my mom's like sequin dress. Like this is my mom's clothes. Like I'm wearing my mother's drag right now.
It's amazing that you have the same size. So lucky.
Yeah, well, it's like it's very very useful.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was this. I'm heavily inspired by Elvira. I love a goth moment. I am at heart quite goth
Ha.
myself. Yes. So, and Elvira is, I watched her film Mistress of the Dark when I was 6 years old, and that just completely, like, changed my life. And I used to dress up as her every time I came home from school. Every time I came home from Catholic school, I used to dress up as Elvira
Wow.
and watch her movie. Yeah. Layers, layers. And Disney. I'm very inspired by Disney. As a you know person who grew up in America. Disney is a big kind of a cultural milestone here. And the Wicked Queen in particular from Snow White was a big thing. I just loved how unashamedly vain she was, and how she was willing to transform herself into something so ugly just so that she could take down Snow White. I mean, the level of petty is so high, so
Yes.
and I love that.
Yeah.
So, So yeah, so Wicked Queen from Snow White, Elvira, and obviously the Virgin Mary. So and Little Edie.
I wanna take a moment just to say I'm gonna ask you something that I suppose that no one has asked you before, but I'm really
Okay.
curious and I need to mention that. So when I first saw you on drag, I was impressed and surprised about something that I will tell you in a bit. When I saw you in the chapel at King's College, apart from the total amazing thing that I was seeing just in front of me, I was again trying to identify if you're wearing nails. And I just love what you are doing. I don't know what it is, I need to ask you what it is, but I just love it. I have spent a lot of minutes trying. Ah! Wow!
So what it is they are. I'll totally give away the secret. These are filigree corners, filigree book corners. You can get these on eBay
Wow!
for whatever, and I just bend them and make them into nails.
I love that. It's very
That's it.
creative.
Just
Mystery
very
solved.
easy. I don't like wearing nails. I don't like wearing because when they break off with the glue, then it's like that's it for the
Yeah.
night, and it's just like I just like things that I can just like stick back on, but I do lose them at gigs
The
sometimes.
effect is really
They'll just
nice
pop
though on
off.
camera.
Huh?
The effect is really nice on camera though.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
really like it. What does Andrew and Virgin Extravaganza have in common, you would say, and how do they differ?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's kind of interesting because I think they're the same. They're the same in a lot of ways. I think a lot of drag. I think a lot of people that are drawn to doing drag. Okay, so no, my friend Lolo Brow, who's an amazing drag queen. Amazing drag queen. Anybody's watching this, if you don't know Lolo Brow, definitely check them out. They said that the way they define drag is the you that never experienced guilt or shame. So the you in your life that never experienced guilt or shame. That's what your drag is. And I love that so much. And I feel in many ways that Virgin kind of is that for me. She is the kind of embodiment of the me that gives no fucks, that doesn't care what anyone thinks, that is very, very high status and very confident in herself. Because I'm not particularly confident. Andrew is not particularly confident. Andrew is very insecure. Andrew is very neurotic. Andrew is very anxious. And Andrew can get quite depressed. Virgin is has all of that in her as well, but ultimately, bitch, I'm the mother of God. Okay, like I can handle this shit because I've been around for over 2,000 years and I've been in a relationship with the creator of the universe. Like I've got this shit down. So she's kind of like the version of I mean obviously there is no version of myself that has been the mother of God, but she's kind of like the most powerful. She brings out the most powerful aspects of my personality.
Definitely. I have to say at this moment that you're very popular in London, that you are one of the most recognizable drag queens here in London, and people love you. You have a lot of fans, dedicated fans. And what I can say for sure is that no one who has worked with you has said anything bad about you. Everybody speaks with so nice words about you, and you leave a positive, impression to people. Are you that positive? What makes you so nice to work with, and what makes you that special in the end and lovable?
I mean, well, okay. First of all, I'm gonna say I think that you've spoken to people that do like me. There are people that don't like me. There's a
Yes,
lot of people.
probably.
There's a lot of people that don't. Yeah, look, I've been around for a while. I've been around for a few years. I'm not without my enemies. Because people piss each other off. People that work together, we piss each other off, and then we don't speak, and it's like, and then it's like, so there's a little bit of there's a little bit of that going along. But in terms of look, I'm professional, okay? Like, I show up to a gig, I will be on time, I might have my fun on a gig, but I will never get so messy that I can't do the gig. Um, I'm always polite to people. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Um, and I've just kind of lived by that, and especially, almost kind of going back to the question that you just asked, what aspects of me are similar to Virgin and whatnot, I was very bullied when I was younger in Catholic school because I was different, because I was visibly queer. And I just don't take shit anymore. Life is way too short. So, if people are disrespectful to me, then I let them know, and then I move on, because it's like, if people, if people aren't able to treat me the way I would want to treat them, then there's no point in having people like that in my life. It's not beef. It's just like, okay, that's where you're at right now. I have respect for myself. I'm not going to allow myself to be treated that way. So you can stay over here and I'll stay right here, and I'm not going anywhere.
Virgin Extravaganza, if you had to choose the best moment in your career, or the best moment in your life, if you prefer, what would that be?
mm, um, there's been
Or
so
one of the
many, and
best?
yeah, I mean, there's been so many. Okay, career. Okay.
You can say more than one. I don't want to make it that difficult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so any time I'm able to perform in a religious space is very special. So the performance that you saw at sorry, I keep having to just get notifications out of the way. The performance that you saw at King's College, that was very special. That was very special because regardless of whether or not I believe in God or anything like that, because that's like a whole other conversation, but all religious spaces have very powerful energy. And because my work is talking directly about religion, um, I always feel that whenever I perform in a religious space. And it's happened a few times in my career where I've performed in churches or sacred spaces,
Mm-hmm.
or photo shoots, something like that. And it's always like a very kind of like, hello, hi, I'm here, I'm me, you are this energy, and yeah, we're gonna do this together right now. It's not at all confrontational. So yeah, that was a bit of an obtuse answer. I performed at the Wallace Collection, which is a museum in London, and I performed underneath a painting, a classical painting called "The Annunciation of Mary" by Philippe de Champagne. I don't know, Philippe de Champagne. I don't.
We can Google
Anyway,
it.
Philippe, yeah, good old Philippe. That was particularly special, just to be under like a piece of artwork about the Virgin Mary that was, hundreds and hundreds of years old. That was in this amazing pavilion in this amazing museum. That was very special. Again, it's just kind of like, I think performance has the ability to connect with something greater.
Mm-hmm.
you know People ask like what my religion is. My religion is performance. My religion is the stage.
Yeah.
And even if that stage is an iPhone, any place I'm able to kind of give my whatever I create to people, that's very, very sacred to me. That's incredibly sacred. And any that's why it's hard for me to say like what's your favorite like moment in your career. It's like they're all so different. Like, the shows I do with the Glory have such a feeling to them. The shows that I do in sacred spaces have such a feeling. The shows that I do at other places are, and it's
Sure.
all amazing.
That's
Anyway,
great.
that's
And what is your biggest sin? Your biggest
my what?
sin?
My weakest thing.
Your biggest sin? Sin.
Oh, my biggest sin.
Yes.
Oh.
If Virgin has a sin, just mentioning.
Well, I think Virgin is a sin in and of herself. I mean, she sings about. Okay, so what was my biggest sin? Okay. Oh wait, no. Okay, I'll get real here for a second. I won't just talk about Virgin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, I used to lie pathologically. Like, I used to lie about everything because I was very, very depressed, and I was very, very hurt, and I didn't really know where I fit in the world, and I kind of thought I had to fabricate things in order to have self-worth. So I used to lie a lot. And that, I think, was a big sin as far as like sins go, because I manipulated a lot of very good people in my life, and thankfully I've been able to apologize to those people and turn things around and lead my life way more truthfully. But that was a dark time in my life, and I'm glad that I got over that.
That's nice.
The value of human communication is very, very important, especially like, now that we're all in quarantine, it's like it's really made me very aware of that. Like, it's very important that we're able to communicate with each other and be honest with each other right now, especially right now.
Yes, and that's such a nice thing to say. Virgin, when all this finishes, when the quarantine period finishes, when the pandemic comes to an end, and we go back to our normal life again, what are your future plans? What do you want to do in the future?
Just to keep going. I just want to keep going. I've been very, very lucky. I'm a very, blessed person to be able to do what I do, and up until now to be able to make a living off of it.
Yeah.
And I just did live on Instagram, and people have been so generous, and people have paid me, and that's so, like, it's not just about the money, it's about, like, fucking hell, like, people actually, like, they see my worth, and I've created something, and people see the worth in it and are able to say, not only do I enjoy this and I'm going to indulge in the enjoyment of it, but I'm actually going to pay this person, because this is all I do. This is all I know how to do. This is all I know how to do.
And you do it so well.
I don't know how to do math. I don't know how to do math. I don't know how to do science. I don't know the first thing about anything in terms of practicalities of this world. I kind of feel like my sole purpose on this earth is to be for purely decorative purposes. And sometimes if I can make a living out of doing that, then God bless it.
Sometimes this can be more inspiring, though, to be honest, and more important. Are you planning to come back to London?
Yes! Lord! Yes, of course, of course.
We want you back.
It's just about... I want to come back. I I literally came here because it's a last resort, like I also live in a quite precarious building. Don't want to get into it too much, but it's just, it's something that I can afford to live in, but it's not the most secure. It may not be the most safe. So I decided to take the safe option and come back for now. But the minute things are up and running, I will get on the first flight I can back, and I will be back with you. I love London. London is where my heart is.
And Virgin,
I can't wait to be back.
I really hope that all this finishes soon and you come back soon, because we are gonna miss you. But thank God we have Instagram and we can see your lives through Instagram. And We can still enjoy Virgin Extravaganza digitally, and that's something really important these days.
Yes.
So thank
Yes,
you
every
so
Sunday. Every Sunday.
every
Every Sunday.
Sunday.
Every Sunday. I'm going to be doing. Yes.
You're gonna be our
Yes,
new
every Sunday.
favorite Sunday routine. Yes.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
Is there anything else you would like to say? Because we are coming to an end. So, is there something you would like to mention
I
that I
just want to
haven't?
say just I just want everyone to, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Stay safe, stay home right now, do what's right, do what's right for the community. Um but we are all in this together. We will all get through this together. Connect with each other, use this time as productively as possible. Rest, allow yourself time. Like the minute this whole thing happened, I was just like, oh my God, what can I do online? What can I do about that? And it's taken me a while to, do a live show because I just needed to take a couple weeks, take some time, go home, reevaluate things. So take the time that you need, but also use the time productively and stay hopeful because we will get through this and we will live to see another day because we have to.
Thank you so much, Virgin Extravaganza, for the positivity, for your
You.
time, for everything, and we're gonna follow all your next steps, even during the quarantine.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
No,
for
thank you
me.
so much.
Thank you. Bye
Bye,
bye.
Virgin.